Well, welcome everybody to the Taxes 101 Resources for Taxpayers webinar. My name is Shauna Thompson and I am a financial capability educator with the U of M Extension. I serve Carver and Scott counties, and my background includes managing financial literacy, coaching, education programming in the nonprofit urban sector, as well as starting and managing free tax preparation sites. I'm here with my colleague Sarah, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Sarah Butler and I'm a financial empowerment educator with Extension in Dakota County, and I have a similar background and tax site experience helping people with financial products.
Great. Well, we've got just a couple of things that we're going to go through today. Our agenda is going to cover resources for taxpayers, and then we're going to talk about resources for diverse audiences. So I'll get started. Also, just if you have a question as we're moving through this, go ahead and type it in the chat box. We'll have an open time at the end of the webinar where we'll allow you to unmute yourselves and ask questions by speaking. But if you have questions as we're moving through, feel free to just type those in the chat box. Okay, so the need for these resources in the community. Tax time is, we kind of talk about it as being the money moment, and we want to make sure that the clients that we're serving are actually maximizing that money moment to the best of their ability. We know that oftentimes this is the biggest check that some of our folks are receiving all year long, and so it's a good time to start talking about things like building savings. We know that that can help weather any financial emergencies that folks might be having throughout the year. And so it's a good time to start having those conversations with your folks as they're coming into your offices. Saving can also be really easy and automatic. We're going to talk a little bit more about that a little later, but this is a great time to be talking about saving and to be helping your clients access saving products. This is an example of how a tax return can help a family. We talked about how this is a time where a tax return, a client might be receiving the biggest check that they receive all year, and this kind of budget shows how great that impact is on their overall budget over the year. So you can see that the monthly income on the left-hand side there, with all of the income that's coming in and the expenses that are going out, the family is actually basically in the red. With that tax return, though, that extra $4,686 that they're receiving, their annual income is going up quite a bit. So it really is a way that folks can help stretch to meet their monthly expenses and catch up on debt payments over the course of the year. Okay, so to talk about a couple of savings venues that are available for clients, this is a promotion, Save Your Refund, presented by the D2D Fund. This is a promotion that's available to all tax filers who are over 18 years old and who have used Form 8888 to save a portion of their tax refund. Form 8888 is an IRS form that taxpayers can file right along with their taxes that allows them to split their refund into two different accounts. So they can put a portion of it into checkings and a portion of it into savings. And so the promotion is for a chance to win a $100 prize every week, or there's also a grand prize of $25,000. So it's a good way to incentivize savings amongst our folks if they can have an extra chance to win some extra money. The savings promotion starts, or looks like it started a couple of days ago, January 25th. Prepare and Prosper is supporting this promotion, and there's a link right there where you can get more information if you have folks who are interested in taking advantage of this one. Okay, Wincentive Savings, I'm gonna play a video here that will kind of tell you about this new promotional savings item.
What if saving money could be fun and help you win even more cash. Introducing Wincentive Savings, a free savings account which offers drawing entries each time you increase your savings balance by $25. Win prizes monthly, quarterly, and annually. Best of all, you keep growing your savings and you could win $100, $1,000, or even $5,000. Visit wincentivesavings.org for a list of participating credit unions. If you aren't already a member, it's easy to join and open an account for as little as $5. Wincentive Savings, available only at Minnesota credit unions.
Okay, so this is a fairly new promotion that just started just up this year. Really the best way to find out which credit unions are participating is really to just go to the website. They have all the listed credit unions that are participating. So what are some common barriers to savings at tax time? The clients that we work with, a lot of times will say they already know what they're spending their refund on. They have a lot of ideas in their mind about what they're going to spend it on. And so in their mind, they don't think about savings because they have a lot of other things that they're getting ready to spend it on. Another thing might be that a tax site volunteer or staff doesn't engage in a conversation with a client about savings while that client is at the tax site. Another barrier might be that they may not have their account information with them, or they don't have a savings account when they go to get their taxes prepared at the free tax prep site. Some clients may be worried that savings will affect eligibility towards public benefits, and some might be worried that there's a garnishment or a recapture involved. And so, all of these are kind of common examples of why folks might decide not to save. But I think they're also good opportunities for you as frontline workers to try to engage in conversations with clients about savings. So what are some common questions? And I'm just we have a bit of knowledge in the room, and so I want to just open it up for Sarah too to weigh in on some of these as we go through. As a frontline worker, you may receive a lot of questions from clients. First one, where is my refund, right? When is it coming? When do I get that big check? Right online with the IRS is, we've given you the link here, but I think you just enter in some very minimal information, your name, social security number, and I think you need to know the exact amount of your refund, but you just type that right in and they'll kick you back a response if it's been processed or if it's in processed or what the mail to date is, so you can check there if folks are worried about where their refund is. Secondly is, what if I don't get my W-2s? Again, IRS website is a great resource, clearinghouse. Right on this link here, there are instructions to walk you through what to do if you don't get your W-2s. Employers are required to have those out to folks by January 31st. That's the law for them. And so if folks haven't received them by then, there's step-by-step instructions here listed to help.
And also make sure to ask if your clients have moved recently, because they will not forward W-2s usually to your next address. So if that is true, then the client will need to contact the employer again and update their address.
Yep, absolutely. Some more common questions. What is a CRP? A CRP is a certificate of rent paid. This is an IRS document that a landlord is required to send out to the tenants of their buildings, letting them know how much rent was paid over the course of the year, how many months they lived in that building, and some other information. Each landlord has a number that they were given, and that has to be listed on that form. So a CRP, certificate of rent paid, there's a link there that will give you all of that information there. What if my refund is recaptured, or if I'm in danger of having a refund recaptured? This is a really great fact sheet that kind of tells all of the different entities that are allowed to do a state collected recapture. It's mostly government and state agencies, so, and they're all listed on the fact sheet. It also tells you how to handle a recapture if you do owe money to the state or to the federal, the IRS. What are the different ways to handle those payment plans? Anything that you else want to add?
It's a good list to review because there's some places that you wouldn't realize that could recapture, like the University of Minnesota and county-based hospitals like Hennepin County Medical Center.
Lastly, the question here is, what is Form 1095-A? And since we've done this, I've actually realized that there's an A, B, and C, a 1095-A, B, and C. But this is the form that your employer or insurance provider is required to provide you with that tells how many months of the year you had health insurance. So this is a new form. It came out last year, but it wasn't quite tweaked to the point of where everybody received it. Now this year, everybody will be receiving these, and it's the document that allows you to prove that you had health insurance on your tax return. So it's a really important form. Some legal help. You may have clients who are nervous to file because of legal issues or who have questions about legal things that they're already going through related to tax prep. So here are some resources that provide assistance for our folks with, anything that they might be going through. It could be an audit, it could be tax debt, or other legal issues related to taxes. The first one is Mid-Minnesota Legal Aid Tax Law Project, and we've given you a contact phone number there. University of Minnesota Tax Law Clinic. This one could be easily confused. This one just provides the law clinic help portion of it. There is also a tax prep clinic within the U of M as well. And then the Volunteer Lawyers Network. So all three of these places provide legal help. They don't provide assistance with tax preparation or filing, but can help move clients through any of the situations they might be going through. Okay, and so promoting free tax prep and the earned income tax credit. So just a couple of statistics here. 1 in 5 people are not claiming the earned income tax credit who are eligible. 6% of taxpayers who received the earned income tax credit filed for free. And so this is really the Claim It campaign is providing information to organizations around the earned income tax credit and tax credits in general. There's 2 links here. One is listed for organizations in Greater Minnesota, and the second one there is for organizations in the 9-county metro area. Some additional resources to go through. The Help Minnesota Save website. This is a great website. Most of you, if you haven't heard it already, is a clearinghouse of financial education materials that's just for frontline staff that are doing financial education and coaching work with clients. There are a lot of tax-related materials listed here, as well as financial literacy curriculum programming, and just a lot of resources here. Law Help Minnesota, this is a place where you can find tax fact sheets and translated tax information. There's a lot of information at this site, and the fact sheets are really easy to read, and they're in really language that is easy to understand to help folks with tax-related items. The University of Minnesota Extension, we obviously are teaching personal finance out in the communities all across the state, and have a website that has a lot of resources, articles, activities, curriculums, things like that are listed on our website. So that's a good place to check if you're looking for things. The premium tax credit, also a newer thing now that we have the Affordable Health Care Act in place. If your clients have questions about the premium tax credit, best place to go is really going to be minsure.org. That's where they can find out if they're eligible for the tax credit and any related issues with it with their own policies. If you're really excited about, learning more about affordable health care and the premium tax credit and all of that, the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities has provided some really comprehensive webinars that are all listed at this link that we've provided for you. They're really in depth and so if you're ready to get your geek on about the Health Care Act, this is the place for it. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, this is a federal bureau that is regulating financial institutions out in communities all across our country. And so this is they have a section that's dedicated just to tax time. And so this is also a great place to go if folks have questions about filing complaints or have any issues. A local IRS taxpayer advocate, this would be for somebody who maybe is having a more difficult to deal with issue, maybe has a higher level of tax debt that they're working with, maybe there's some legal pieces involved, and they've kind of exhausted all of their options and just don't know what to do. You can pair up with an IRS taxpayer advocate in your state. We've listed a phone number for you. That's a great place to find the advocate that's closest to you. They're always going to ask you to fill out Form 911, which is also listed here, and that's that would be the starting point to get hooked up with somebody in your community. And I'm going to turn it over to Sarah, and she's going to talk about some resources for diverse audiences.
All right, so seeking resources for diverse audiences, we're going to kind of focus on those who do not have a social security number and how people go about receiving a number so they can file their taxes. It's called the Individual Taxpayer Identification Number. It's also known as I-10. It's used to file taxes for those who don't have or are not eligible to obtain a social security number. And it is a 9-digit number that people use to put onto their taxes to file them. And it's only used for federal taxes, not state. I-10 holders are not eligible for the Earned Income Tax Credit, the EITC, and they're not eligible for the ACA Premium Tax Credit that Shauna just talked about. No Social Security benefits are entitled to the person, and it doesn't change immigration status or the right to work in the United States. But there are benefits if you do become an I-10 holder. Filers would be eligible for the Child Tax Credit, Additional Child Tax Credit, and then the Lifetime Learning Educational Credit and Child Independent Care Credit. The other benefit is they would have access to opening up a savings retirement account through the Treasury's MyRA. It's very similar to a Roth IRA. And this can be used by anyone who doesn't have access to a regular retirement plan. And it's a safe investment backed by the U.S. Treasury. And people are starting to get registered, and it's become a pretty popular financial service at Prepare and Prosper tax sites. Having an I-10, they may have access to interest-bearing banking accounts, but you would need to check with that financial institution if that is allowed. They can also claim the Minnesota Renters Credit. Other benefits, a tax income return is an important document that would be used as proof of living in the United States. The federal income tax return is one of the documents required for immigration process, so it would be beneficial to have the I-10 so you have documentation while you're going through that process. And it's also needed for student loan and financial aid applications. It's also used for home buying and other loans, so it's a very helpful tool to have your I-10 available to do these different asset building processes. So how to apply? Pretty easy. The file number is the IRS W-7, and you can file for this in conjunction with your tax return. There are places that have I-10 accepted agents, and we do have the link at the bottom of this slide. Just to note that Clues Nonprofit is a provider, and they also do have a tax site on their site, so you can do it all in the same place. I would caution, if you are referring clients to an acceptant agent, there are a lot that do charge. So trying to go to this list to see what places are available is very helpful to help clients not have to pay for the I-10 filing. And also, it would be a good thing to also, there's this list, but there's some in the community. People might have word of mouth of places to visit with acceptance agents. Okay, so now we're to the part, are there any questions on either sections that Shauna and I presented on?
And you can either type questions in the chat box below, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question as well. So, oh, here's a question. What kinds of issues can the tax advocates help with?
Yeah, so they can help with folks who have, an overwhelming amount of debt. A lot of times you might have clients who say, oh, I'm just not even going to file because I have so much debt. They can help with if there's a legal issue related to the tax return, or if they've tried avenues to get things handled and they just haven't had any success on their own, a taxpayer advocate could help. Did you have any specific issues in mind that you were thinking of?
So while we're waiting, if Carrie, if you do have some specific issues, just type them in or unmute yourself. And there's another question from Paul. So are there programs in place to work with people on computer skills to help them transition to filing online?
That's a really good question. I think there are definitely lots of community organizations across the state that are providing computer literacy trainings. I don't know that the training would be specific to helping them transition to filing online.
If they're comfortable using a computer, My Free Taxes is a website where you can file your taxes for free under, is it $62,000 a year? And that, I guess, from what I have heard, is a very easy, user-friendly website to file on your own.
Okay, and Carrie, I see your reply here. You're asking the difference between an advocate and somebody from ARRP who helps with taxes. So somebody from AARP is going to just help them with the filing of the taxes. A taxpayer advocate can help unsnarl any messy situations that people may have gotten into that have prevented them from filing, or if they're having trouble sorting out, maybe it's a small business situation that, where somebody didn't file for a long time and now they're trying to sort it all out. It's messier situations that they can help unsnarl, if that's helpful.
And the advocate works for the IRS, so they have access to look up information about the person's situation.
So Sarah Crymans is saying that some VITA sites may have computers available so that people can file their own taxes, yet access the folks at the site if they have any questions. She believes that Lakes and Prairies Cap Agency in Moorhead offers this option. There may be other free tax prep sites that have that option. You would just have to ask that provider in that area.
And some do have people who own their own businesses have the ability to file their own taxes with someone in the room. You just do have to look up each site and call and find out if the information's not on the web.
Any other questions? Okay, so if there's not other questions, I believe the next slide is contact information. So if you do have questions that you think of as you are working with the folks that you serve in your communities, feel free to email Sarah or Shauna or Antonio. We put your name, I think you're on as well, the webinar, your name up there as well to see if, to ask those questions, and if we can send you the information, wonderful, or we can refer you to the folks that would know some of the answers to those questions. So thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you to Sarah and Shauna for presenting. This is part of our Taxes 101 series, and so we've had 3 webinars that all have been recorded and will be placed on helpmnsave.org, along with the PowerPoint presentations as well as our tax primer handbook. So those will all be put on helpmnsave.org. If you need CEUs for social work or for the AFC, an accredited financial counselor, you may email me, and I'm going to put my email in the chat box. I see Taylor is on as well. So if you need the CEUs and you need a certificate sent to you, please email me and I will get that sent to you. So Taylor has responded that Rochester does as well for the VITA sites and have computers available. I'm not sure if his message was sent just to me or if everyone, so just wanted to cover that. Any last minute questions that folks thought of while I was talking here? Okay, so again, thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your day. And if you have questions, please follow up. Otherwise, we hope to see you next year during tax time, but we wish you all luck in helping the families that you serve access the tax resources and credits that they need. So thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.